Welcome back. Well, just about every presidential election is high stakes, but this year's contest may actually live up to that term. With job losses, an economic slowdown, and a public health emergency all at the top of public concerns, President Donald Trump faces a steep challenge in securing a second term. But concerns that presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden may not perform up to expectations as his party's candidate makes predicting just what voters will do this fall a challenge. Good thing we have pollsters working overtime to understand what the public wants. And I'm joined by one of those pollsters now. It's Professor Spencer Kimball, who runs the Emerson College poll that Nexstar stations, including Ozarks Fox, use. And Professor, as always, it's good to see you joining us from Boston. You've got some big-time swing state polls coming up. Why don't you tell us about your plans and what you expect to see from some of this?
Well, we got a wonderful opportunity this fall, as you mentioned, teaming up with Nexstar, doing a series of polls all across the country. And in fact, in just a couple of weeks, we will jump into Pennsylvania. And as voters know, in about 40-odd days, Pennsylvania voters will actually have a chance to cast their ballot in the general election. Now, the election isn't for 13 more weeks, but because of absentee and early voting, we're going to start seeing a lot more votes coming in September, October than what we've seen in other years. And of course, all eyes, I think, are on Pennsylvania. I believe that's the keystone state. That was the one that put Trump over the top in 2016. Joe Biden, this is his home state. He's, well, obviously he's from Delaware, or he lives in Delaware, but he's from Pennsylvania. So they expect him to be able to perform well. Right now, the polls are all kind of looking like they did in 2016, a big lead for the Democrat. And now Trump is going to have to try to chew into that over the next 13 weeks. But remember, he's got to actually get into that a little bit earlier, because a lot of this vote is going to be in prior to November 3rd. Yeah,
and I wonder, I mean, does that essentially disadvantage the president? Because he's trying to, I think, right the ship for his campaign and for his poll numbers. But yeah, if you've got folks in just over a month who are going to be heading out and doing the early voting, they may not have the best impression of the president at that point. Pennsylvania may be truly the keystone to this whole thing for Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20 electoral votes, and even if the Democrats take Pennsylvania, that doesn't give them the presidency. Remember, you got to get to 270. Trump got to 306, so 20 only brings them down to 286. They got to get him down to 269. So they're going to be plugging away at a couple of other states, ones that are kind of closer, the low-hanging fruit that they think is a state like Michigan. They think Michigan's a state that the Democrats can come back. The Democrats are in good shape up in Michigan, but again, the polls last time we saw over the last 2 to 3 weeks of the election, it really tightened up. And one earlier point to the absentee and the early vote, remember in the Democratic primary when Joe Biden was trailing and all of a sudden we had South Carolina, and there was a lot of votes already banked in California, in Texas. But on election day, remember 3 days after South Carolina, bang, Joe Biden takes all of those states with a huge push. So I still think you'll see a big push on election day, but boy, it would feel much better to have those votes banked. Kind of, well, Hillary Clinton had in Colorado and a couple of other states back in 2016. Obviously, Joe will have to get a little further down, particularly like in a state like Wisconsin that we're going to be polling in a couple of weeks. Wisconsin's got 10 electoral votes. And the Democrats were able to take back the governorship in 2018. They're going to now try to take back the state that went for Obama and then went for Trump. So that will be another state that we'll be looking at. We come down south, take a look at Florida. Florida is a state where Trump has actually now made his residency. And what's interesting is, remember Andrew Gillum, the man who ran for governor, very close race. He was supposed to do a voter registration drive to increase Democratic numbers. It's actually the Republicans have actually increased their voter registration in the last 4 years in Florida. So as we start looking at these states, you know, for example, in Georgia, we'll be polling Georgia in about 7 weeks with Nexstar. And when we saw down there is that they don't register in Georgia as Republicans, Democrats, and there's no party affiliation, but you do have to put in your ethnicity. And what we see is a very large increase in African-American and Hispanic registration, and 50,000 less Caucasian registered voters.
Professor,
so as we start looking at these states, you can start to see a lot of dynamics in play here.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of dynamics, polling itself is a dynamic enterprise. At the very least, I think there's some concern about the 2016 polls. I think you got maybe a bit of an unfair reputation because everyone thinks, well, they said Clinton was going to win and the president won. But you were predicting, not you specifically, but the pollsters in general, predicting Clinton was ahead. She won the popular vote. How concerned are you and other pollsters about potentially getting it wrong again? Does that kind of factor into your thinking when you're putting these polls together?
Well, Brian, that's why I'm really doing these programs with you, is to increase voter, or what we call polling literacy. We got to remember, a poll is not a precise score. You know, you watched the basketball game last night and the Lakers win 103-101. Well, that's the score. In polling, there would be a margin of error, a range of scores. And so 103-101 with a 3% margin of error, you really don't know who would win the game. All I can tell you is it looks like it's going to be a close game. And I think it's very important that voters and viewers who watch polls and follow them realize that it's not precise. It is a margin variable score that you have to look at. And what we're trying to find are trends and movements in these polls. And so right now you can see pretty steadily Joe Biden doing pretty consistent in all of these polls. What we're going to look for is, does that numbers expand when he announces a vice presidential candidate? Does it contract, and all of a sudden now Trump's numbers start to improve? So there'll be a lot of moving parts in these next 13 weeks. And typically voters tune in after Labor Day. So we expect to see some movement there as well.
All right, exciting stuff and more to come. We look forward to having you back on. Professor Spencer Kimball, who runs the Emerson College poll and the Emerson Next Star poll, which we'll be seeing a lot of here on Ozarks Fox. Professor, thanks so much.
Brian, thanks for having me.
And we'll be back after this.